How's it going, everybody? I'm Legendary Chicken, returning once more with another WarThunder guide. In today's guide, we will be covering everything you need to know about the North American P51 Mustang. Before we begin, I'd like to make it clear that this guide and all my guides assume that you have at least a basic understanding of the game's core mechanics. This guide will apply to both air arcade battles and air realistic battles. By the end of this video, you will be an ace with the P51. Another way to become an ace is by subscribing to Colonel Chicken with the big subscribe button below this video. The mastery of your aircraft will not only bring you better success, more silver lions, and more research points, but it will drastically improve your gameplay experience. It is important to point out that playing WarThunder only to grind will make it harder to play. Remember, it's just a game. Right, let's begin. Today's guide will be focused on the iconic North American P51 Mustang. This World War II era prop sits snug right before BR 4.0 for arcade and BR 3.7 for realistic in rank 3. This plane is one of the most commonly used props among American tech tree players for this rank. To get your hands on this piece of hardware, it'll cost you 18,000 RP and 47,000 SL. Over the course of your playtime, the total cost to add all upgrades will come to 19,800 extra RP and 32,400 extra silver lions. Now, if you really love this plane and just have to put a talisman on it, that'll put you at 980 gold eagles. Now, let's get into the good stuff. For general combat, the classic boom and zoom hit and run tactic applies best for the P51. Of course, this isn't the case for every encounter, but generally speaking, it works most of the time. When it comes to combat maneuvers, turn fighting is relatively difficult in this aircraft, especially so in its stock form. The idea is to keep away from having to engage in a turn fight whenever possible. Should turn fighting become necessary, try to point at a slight downward angle to retain your speed the best you can while turning. If chased, any attempt to switch directions with random sporadic movements can in some cases force the opponent to overshoot. Giving you an opportunity to take a shot. This is a possibility based on the current situation and will not guarantee your survival. As I always tell beginners, it is imperative to learn to read your enemy's movements and act accordingly. Head-on fights, as usual, should be avoided, as they're really just a coin flip chance to die in a head-on collision. However, if you can maneuver around your opponent, you could use a head-to-head as a way to open an opportunity for a dogfight in your favor. When it comes to ammo types, tracers for realistic, universal for arcade, just my preference. You can use what suits you best. Though for realistic, I have to recommend that you use tracers to better gauge your shots. It works for me, I'm sure it'll work for you too. As for bombs or rockets, this variant of the P51 has none. For upgrades, it's a good idea to balance flight modules and gun modules, as the stock guns jam very often. Without any upgrades, the P51's maximum speed is 578 kilometers an hour with a turn time of 22 seconds, and a climb rate of 9.1 meters per second. With all flight and survivability upgrades, the max speed goes up to 631 kilometers an hour, a turn time of 20 seconds, and a climb rate of 13.1 meters per second. As a general rule, altitude is your best weapon. Remember, flying low is flying slow. Climbing at the beginning of a match is always recommended, regardless of what plane you're flying and regardless of the era. The P51 benefits greatly from high altitude flight. First off, from a gameplay perspective, Getting higher altitudes as soon as possible keeps you away from the initial mosh pit of casualties that happens like clockwork every single match. Second, the higher your altitude, the greater your potential energy. For anyone who plays air knows that energy is the most important factor in who comes out of a confrontation intact. Energy being how much maneuverability you can retain while in flight, knowing how to conserve energy is the key to survival in most cases. Simply put, energy fighting is a balance of keeping your potential energy while trying to bleed your opponents of theirs. Fighting at higher altitudes gives you more flexibility and less of a chance to accidentally kiss the dirt. Moving on, the P51, though excellent in most cases, is not much of a fighter, even for longtime players, despite its fighter tag. That aside, it does, however, perform exceptionally as an interceptor. The onboard 20mm cannons make quick work of slow-flying bombers and strike aircraft. To be fair, though, it can make quick work of anything you catch off guard, bombers and fighters alike. Moving on, the Mustang is a moderately heavy plane with a rather slow turn speed. Without maxing out the modifications, it likely won't be able to outperform your Spitfires, Bf-109s, or Yaks. However, it depends on the pilots and the situation. You can actually check out the differences between certain planes over on the WarThunder Wiki. It's super easy to find, but I'll still put a link to it in the description of the video. It's a really good resource to be able to use to your advantage. Some of you watching may have seen my last video, the P400 guide, which received over 2,400 views as of the writing of this script, and thanks to everyone, hit my original goal of 100 likes. I'd like to take this moment to thank everyone who watches my videos. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope this helps someone in one way or another. Don't be afraid to comment any tips you have or what you would like to see next. If this video gets 150 likes, I'll make another one. Till then, chicken out.